All right, so I just want to show you a quick overview of machine learning pipeline end-to-end deployment of a model, how they do it in the production in real life situation. So it's very simple. This is the step they follow. All machine learning models follow this step. It's just they use different tools. So under Google, they use GCP, which I'm good at. So they use AutoML or custom training through Vertex AI. On AWS, they can use Azure. Then on Microsoft, also they have a tool they use to build, train, and deploy models in production. So this is a simple step. The first step before even you do data collection is you must ask yourself the problem you're trying to solve. So what problem are you trying to solve? It could be you want to suggest best movies for a particular audience to watch in Netflix or any movie streaming site. It could be you want to decide maybe image classification models. You want the computer to know which what animal is which what animal, right? So it could be, of course, supervised or unsupervised learning. Now, so the first thing, of course, define a problem. So once you know the problem you're trying to solve, then that way you can go to the next step, which is data collection. So under data collection, you can't collect data unless you first know what problem you're trying to solve, right? So then you have to collect data. And then, of course, when collecting data, there's some ethical issues you have to consider, like, is this data reliable? When was it collected? Are you the one who is going to collect the data? Are they going to buy the data from a vendor to give the data, right? But of course, there's some things you have to consider a lot when it comes to data. I've been a data analyst for 9 years, so I know so many things you have to consider before you really decide that this is the data I want to use. The next one is data preparation, and this is, of course, very, very important. This is where you can do things like machine learning engineering. So here we can do exploratory data analysis. We can clean the data. We can work with outliers, missing values, stuff like that. We can do feature engineering, so we add new columns. This is just to enrich the data. You can do data embedding right here. So just enriching the data so that we can even have a model that does well in prediction. The next one is, of course, you have to train your model now. Once you have prepared the data, the next step is to train your model. Of course, in GCP, you use Vertex AI. It's a simple TensorFlow Python script that you write to fit the model. So here it's simply feeding this data in mostly in batches because you have to have what you call the data flow where the data is fed to the model bit by bit. We don't want to feed the data all at once to the model for several reasons. The first reason is because you don't want the data to learn from the pattern that's already in the data. So what data flow does is it gives the model the data in batches. And as it does this, it shuffles the data on the fly. That way, the model doesn't learn from the already presumed pattern in the data. All right. So model training, of course. Then what you want to do next is model evaluation. So under model training, you also do what you call model validation. So model validation is just simply giving the model some like giving it a quiz subset of the data to test just if the model can predict is having an accurate prediction. And then once you give you the quiz, which is called model validation, you do what called model evaluation. So under model evaluation now, you score the quiz, right? So here you do something like this. So you go like, hey, model, here is a quiz. Let me see how good or bad you're going to do with this quiz based on everything that I have taught you. So we can use what we call MSE, that is the mean squared standard error, or the root mean standard square error. So you look at those metrics to evaluate if the model is doing well. So if the model is doing well and you're satisfied that this model is doing well, of course, there are other things I'm not going to get into, like overfitting and stuff like that. We go to model deployment. Now you deploy this model in production. Of course, there are also steps to deploy this model in production. And the GCP suite provides all these tools to do all this stuff. Then once we do that, we have to monitor. We're monitoring the model to see to make changes because you want to see, hey, is this do we need to constantly maybe feed this model more data? Is this model still doing the right job? Are there skews in this prediction, stuff like that? So this is the entire step-by-step process, simplified kind, of course, high-level simplified process that all machine learning experts go through to train whatever model they want to train to do whatever tasks they wanted to achieve. So this is the high level. We are going to go, of course, deep into this and see exactly what goes on into each and every step. Of course, the devil is always in the details, but don't be scared. It's simple, it's easy. I've done this thing So we'll see that in the next video.